Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has reshuffled his 45-member cabinet, naming 7 new ministers and sacking 5, while reassigning 10 others to new portfolios. The ministers of Finance, Defense, National Planning, and 2 junior energy ministers all retain their positions. The reshuffle includes remaining the Ministry of Niger Delta Development to the Ministry of Regional Development, the widening up of the Ministry of Sports, and the merger of the Ministry of Sports and Arts and Culture. Well, 8-point, innovation by the president, if you look at all of them comprehensively. Tunde Rahman is a senior special assistant to President Bola Tinubu. He now joins me for a quick look at those changes to the ministerial list. Good to have you, Tunde Rahman, on the program. This is live, this Sunday Talk Show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, I read you this morning.
I must say that...
okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Now, I was going to say that it's my first appearance at Arise TV News. And I cannot come here without acknowledging the good work that you are doing. Because I recall that in the beginning, as editor in the These Days table, each time I went to the chairman in Duka Obagbena to discuss the matters about my newspaper, he used to confront me with issues about Arise. So I'm glad that from that time up to now, Arise has come a long way, and I must congratulate all of you for doing a wonderful job.
Okay, I hope, thank you for your compliments, but you know that these compliments have implications. You can't just come here and you face Ruben Abati and you are rhapsodizing. It has implications. But
anyway, I've noted that.
Okay, but let me draw your attention to a piece you wrote today, back page of this newspaper, where you were talking about key takeaways from the cabinet reshuffle. I don't agree with you on all the points. I agree with you specifically that this is the first time that any president will appoint ministers, reshuffle cabinet, and he will attach portfolios to them. You are spot on. But all this your talk about Doris Anite and some of the things you were saying, I thought these are just sycophantic statements. But in any case, make your own case. Let's start with the article you wrote today, and I can interrogate further.
Yes, Dr. Abati, you don't have to agree with me, essentially. And because sometimes the way you see things are not exactly the way we see it here. Because, Mr. President has been on the seat for about 17 months. He has had the privilege of working with these ministers. And to effect the changes that he effected, there was a scientific method, which was coordinated by the Special Advisor on Policy and Coordination, Adiza Bala Osman, which is that they look at the agenda, the renewed hope agenda of the president, and the various programs as it affects each of the ministries. Then they match that with the performance, the deliverables of these ministers, plus feedback. And what you saw is what came out of those scientific assessments. So if you say that you do not agree with me, you are entitled to your opinion. But let me say that from these changes, certain things have emerged. Number one, the president has restructured this cabinet. And when I say that, I mean that there are low-hanging fruit. For instance, some of us, and the president also was inclined to believe so, that there is no need for 2 ministers in police affairs. He has called that to 1. There is no need for 2 ministers within youth development. He has reduced that by 1. Secondly, we used to have the Ministry of Niger Delta. And now, the government, before now, there were the Niger Delta Development Commission, and then the Northeast Development Commission, which arose from the crisis of Boko Haram. And this government has also created the Northwest Development Commission to also attend to the challenges in the Northwest, as well as the Southeast Development Commission. So you do not need to create separate ministry to oversee this thing. So I saw the wisdom in creating the Ministry of Regional Development, which oversee all the regional development commissions that we have. So I see that if you are talking about the spirit of the Oronsai panel, this takes care of it, which is about reducing the cost of government. So this will affect the governance processes, and we're expecting that it will also affect the outcome too in the fullness of time.
Well, Tunde Rahman, I'm in this business too. I've been here, for quite a while. Creating a Ministry of Regional Development does not address the interests of the Middle Belt. They have IPADEC, but it doesn't address their interests. You say Southwest Development Commission, Northeast Development Commission. Okay, even NDDC is not specifically for a development commission purpose. It has, other interests. 9 oil-producing communities. It's about oil-producing communities. So there is a problem with that, regional development ministry, and the various stakeholders have been protesting. However, let me ask you about another point that you raised. You talked about livestock development, how that is important. No, President Tinubu creating a livestock development ministry, it's not an Amajiri issue. There are people who have other interests with regard to livestock development. But you say, oh, this is a big takeaway. How is it a big takeaway? Because Maia is one Amajiri who is Dano, as Yorubas will call it. I'm responding to your article today.
You need to be charitable. You need to be charitable to our people. I do not see my hair as an Almajiri. Rather, I see him as a big stakeholder in livestock development sector. And what the president has done should be commended. Commended in the sense that apart from working to develop the livestock economy, and to ensure that, rather than, importing dairy products, we produce them here. But there's a bigger issue, which is about the farmers at that crisis. A part of that crisis has to do with animal husbandry. It has to do with sourcing water and food and grass for the cattle. Now, if this livestock development ministry is able to, resolve that, it will have been a big problem that will have been resolved. Because livestock, the cattle, the cows, they will need grass and water. So if the ministry is able to resolve that, it will go a long way to resolve this farmers' crisis, and by extension, food supply crisis and food security. So that's the way I see it. I rather see the cup as half full, not half empty. Maya is a stakeholder who has done so well, and on the basis of what he has done within the livestock development sector, that's why the president appointed him. And for you to know how committed the president is to developing the livestock economy, just a day after he unfolded the new cabinet, there was a stakeholders conference, about the livestock sector, which talked about the problem, the challenges, and how to ensure the way forward. And don't forget the former INEC chairman headed a committee that looked into the feasibility of the livestock development sector, which had presented his report, following which this ministry was created. So this was an intentional thing. It's not something that came from happenstance. It was deliberate. The government realized that there is a need to develop, and this is consistent with the vision of Mr. President. So I do not see the way you are seeing it.
Well, Tunde Rahman, one of the things you defended in your piece, back page of this newspaper today, is that, oh, the president has merged tourism with culture and creative economy. Do you think that is a sensible thing to do? Considering the fact that tourism can stand alone. Tourism can be important on its own. Lola John may not have done well in that ministry. Does that provide a justification for anybody who has basic intelligence about tourism, about culture, about, you know, to just merge tourism with creative economy? I disagree with that decision. What do you think?
You see, like I said, you are entitled to, you know, your view. You can't disagree with me. I welcome that. But I must tell you that, one, Mr. President is not somebody that is weighed by emotions, by, you know, what people, you know, some people think, but by what he thinks should be done. For instance, this government is about 17 months on the saddle. And you and I will agree that within the tourism sector, the minister in tourism, you know, spent a lot of months, you know, she was ill. And when she got back, she spent a lot of months in order to stabilize and understand the ministry. And I did not see a big gap between tourism and art and culture. Before now, we used to have a joint ministry for tourism, art, and culture. Mr. President has reverted to that. And I think that what we can do is to give enough time to see, you know, what will happen in that ministry. And we have somebody like Anatu Musawa, who's an art enthusiast, and who has, you know, laid the framework for the development of the art sector. I think that she will do a wonderful job, you know, within the tourism, art, culture, and creative economy. It's a new thing. Why don't you allow the thing to function first before you begin to criticize?
Okay, Tunde Rahman, you ended your piece on a note of hope and all of that. Is the president going to say that Nigerians think that his cabinet reshuffle is an anticlimax and he has not done enough? Are we in the next week, 2 weeks, going to see the president, you know, moving things around? Maybe at the level of the parasitas, the agencies, just to show Nigerians that, look, this government is ready for business, not cosmetic efforts.
The government has always meant business. If you know the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you will know that he's a very serious-minded person. I worked with him from about 2016 to now. And the person I work with means well for this country. And people are saying, some people say they expected far-reaching changes. I think what has been done is far-reaching enough. And yes, there are challenges that we have at the moment. The president has acknowledged those challenges, and he said, I understand your feelings, but give me a little more time. And in the fullness of time, these challenges will be addressed. Already, they are very positive development, which we must all acknowledge. For instance, I do not want to even bother you with reeling out data. But I need to tell you that, for instance, before now, we used to have revenue service, debt service ratio of about 97% up until last year. It's been brought down to 68%. And the GDP is growing from about 2.31% last year to 2.98 to about 3%. So we are having a 3% growth. So, and like I said, what we have in place now has produced some positive development. We are now exporting more than we are importing. This is a very positive development. And this government has been in place, not even up to 2 years. So we need to give a little more time. The way we are going, the trajectory is such that if it's able to spur the growth that we are having now, and we have increased productivity, and we are able to rein in inflation. I understand inflation is about 32.70% at the moment, which is not good enough. But if we are able to rein that in the fullness of time, given what the CBN is doing, the CBN is moving gradually to stabilize the Naira. So if we are able to do that, in the fullness of time, the changes will be felt. It is difficult. I also feel it myself, but this is not for want of doing what should be done. It is because some of these things have their gestation period. this period must be allowed to endure before we see the changes. The government has done what is needful in my own view. For instance, we used to think that there's a lot that is saddled with the Minister of Finance and coordinating Minister of the Economy. Now you have a Minister of State for Finance who herself is grounded, Dr. Anite Uzoka, who is grounded, very well grounded in matters of finance. She spent a lot of time at Zenith Bank, and then she was commissioner under Governor Uzodinma in Imo State. So I don't think somebody of that standing will not add anything with respect to the management of the finance ministry. And don't also forget, now we have a new Minister of Trade and Investment in person of Dr. Oduwole. Oduwole was the one that did a wonderful job in the ease of doing business. So let's give these people some time to work. This government is still early in the day. It's not up to 2 years. And the trajectory is already showing that we are doing things right.
Okay, Tunde Rahman, I agree with you with Dr. Oduwole, Mrs. Oduwole, but I'm not sure I have the same impression about Doris Anite, who, in my very honest opinion, should have been sent back to Imo State, where she came from. But it's okay. We'll see how this pans out. And I've been with your principal since 1999. So I know how this works. So I know Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu very well. And I have an idea of how this is going. But it's okay. It's prerogative. It's his government. He has the right to choose his own persons. So at the end of the day, we can only comment.
And he has taken his time.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was saying that, I was saying that it's his prerogative, and he has the prerogative to hire and fire, but he has taken his time. He has brought in feedback. You needed to know the amount of work that went into the performance assessment of the ministers. A lot of people have commended the changes, but you are saying you do not see any good thing that you are entitled to it.
If this is supposed to be a reflection,
it's a good starting point.
If this is supposed to be a reflection of what Hadiza Bala Usman's delivery unit did, I don't think many Nigerians are impressed. But okay, that's okay. We rest it.
We in government, we are impressed. We are impressed in government. It's a good starting point.
What do you people know?
The president, like I said, spent enough time. Oh, what are you saying, doctor? You don't know anything?
What do you people know? Yeah, look. You people are just experimenting.
That's the problem with people on the other side. I've been on that side too. But you need to you have been in government and you know how it works. Yeah. So it's uncharitable for you to say, what do we know in government? It's very, very uncharitable. And okay. I think that's not good enough. You guys are there.
You have the right to do what you want to do. But our interest is Nigeria, and Nigeria will do well. Thank you very much, Tunde Rahman, for joining me on this Live, this Sunday talk show.